and welcome to our December virtual So Fun Club. We are so glad that you've taken time out of your special day to join us. And I have a very special treat. One of my favorite designers, Laugh Yourself into Stitches, Karen Walker, is here to share us some of her patterns and inspiration behind them. And you're going to want to see this for sure. So before I get into that, I want to talk a little bit about our show and tell that we always feature at the end of our videos. And this month, just like the rest, at the end of the video, I'm going to share my little show and tell that I have today. But when you watch this video, if you like, comment or share, then you can get in the running to win 2 of our prizes that we have for you here tonight. And this month we've got 2 prizes, and the first one we have is a little sewing kit, and it's got pins and needles. It's got a ruler. It's got a lot of fun things to keep you organized for any sewing that you do. Quilting, if you're using your serger, if you're a machine embroiderer, this kit is self-contained and will help you. And then also included in our prize package that we have 5 different skeins of thread, and these threads you can make a scarf, you can use them couching in your sewing machines, so many things that you can do with them. And once again, you get 5 skeins of thread. So you're going to want to make sure that you like, comment, and share on our feed here so that you get in the running, and maybe, just maybe, you'll be one of the 2 special names that are drawn for this prize. So good luck. And let's get over right away to our special guest, Karen Walker. Okay, so without further ado, I cannot wait to introduce you to Karen Walker from Laugh Yourself into Stitches. I fell in love with her patterns. I think just going through a quilt store like the rest of us, and I saw her little logo, fell in love with it, loved the name, and I purchased I believe it was, let me think of which one it is. I think it was Where the Crow, it was Crows and Sunflowers.
And So It Crows.
And So It Crows. So that was my first pattern, and I cannot wait to make it still. It is just adorable. And I know that she's going to share that with us tonight. So welcome, Karen. Thank you for joining us for our December So Fun Club virtually. And I cannot wait to hear all your little tidbits about your special quilts, and tell us a little bit about yourself, about your company, when you got started, and whatever you would love to share with us.
Okay, well, thank you so much for inviting me to share my quilts with your sewing center. I have been quilting for about 18 years. Made my first quilt with my grandmother long time ago, but it was just patches put together. And then when my son was born, who's with me today, helping me with this, I made him a turtle quilt, and I had no idea what I was doing. I bought a pattern, I got my scissors out, I got the templates out. And after I got it completed, I showed it to a neighbor, and she said, "Have you ever been to the quilt shop in the town next door?" And I went, "They have those?" And I went there, and my whole world changed. And I didn't know about rotary cutters and acrylic rulers or any of that. So,
oh, wow.
So that's kind of it started, and it just grabbed my attention. And next thing you know, I'm designing patterns I never knew. So.
Well, I am so glad that you found your way into this designing patterns, because yours are very special. So let's step right in, and I'm fallen in love with the one in back of you, Papa's Tree Farm. So go ahead and give us a little bit of information.
Okay, so this is Papa's Tree Farm, and it's a lot of my quilts are probably intermediate skill level. And but this one, all you have to do is figure out how to make one block, and you just repeat the block over and over. It's not difficult at all. And I called it Papa's Tree Farm because my grandfather, who is no longer with us, he died, I don't know, years ago, 20, 30 years ago. He planted a stand of noble fir trees 10,000 of them when he was in his late 80s. And when he died, my father took it over, and that stand of noble furs sort of inspired me to create this. My dad's called Papa by his grandkids, and we have kind of had a family business. We all got involved in cutting down these trees, selling them for Christmas trees, whatever. So this particular quilt has a great place in my heart, called Papa's Tree Farm. And let me see. I have my pattern right here. It is 57 by 80 in size. And let's see if you can see that. I added an extra border so that I could finish the pinwheels, because without that little extra border, the pinwheels just stopped. So that was kind of fun to be able to add that. But anyway, that's Papa's Tree Farm. So I did want to say that I mentioned that a lot of my quilts are intermediate skill level, but if you're a strong beginner quilter with a good understanding of quilting terms and the ability to Google something if you don't know, as my son always tells me to do, you can figure out how to create my quilts. But I do want to, I have a couple really specific things that I teach when I do teach, and that is preparing your fabrics properly before you cut into, before you make your first cut in your fabric. And I prepare them. I'm not one that washes them and dries them before ahead of time. I spray them and get them stabilized with a good spray starch. And I want to tighten up those fibers. That's what I'm mostly interested in. So when I continue building on a unit for a section to create a block, I can continue to spray or use steam, which that's what I do a lot. And that those units don't continue to shrink. The product that I do use that I love a lot, it's fairly new on the market. It's called Magic Quilting and Crafting Spray. It comes in an aerosol pump here. I guess this is it here. And then a trigger. And the trigger spray is really nice and fine. So these are a good option for stabilizing your fabric ahead of time.
Very good. Thank you for that information. I know it's so important. I know whenever I am working on a quilt that has small pieces or long pieces, without, fail, I will always stabilize it, because the last thing you want is to put a lot of time and energy into a quilt and have things shift and get off kilter. So
Right.
Thank you. Thank you. So let me talk a little bit about the pricing for Papa's Tree Farm.
Okay. All right.
So on Papa's Tree Farm, the retail on that is $11. But as you know, if you've been following us for Virtual Sew Fun Club, we have gotten special pricing with our vendor here, Laugh Yourself into Stitches. So we're passing that right along with you. And I go ahead and I do a lot of research to find the lowest prices that I can find online. And then we pass that right along to you. So your special Sew Fun Club price tonight is only $8.49 for this wonderful pattern, Papa's Tree Farm. Now let's go back to Karen and see what she has next for us.
Hi again. This is Tulip Crush. And the reason I called it Tulip Crush, it kind of came to me. I always try to think of creative names for my quilts, and sometimes I can and sometimes I can't. But I kept looking at it after I made it, and I saw little hearts in the leaf shape. And I thought,
I see them.
Tulip Crush. So that's why it's named Tulip Crush. I do have, I'm kind of more of a primitive lover. I like primitive type antiques and that kind of thing. So a lot of my colors in some of my quilts are darker, but I did make a second version using a smaller tulip with brighter colors, and it also is included in the pattern. And here it is. Here it's a little pillow. So the
very cute.
tulips are half as big as the ones in the quilt. So that's Tulip Crush, and it measures 54 by 72.
Very nice. Okay, well, let me talk about our special pricing for Tulip Crush. So retail on that is normally $11. And like I said, our very special So Fun Club price for you tonight is only $8.79 for that adorable pattern. Now let's see what Karen has next.
Okay, this was the quilt that
Yes.
we were talking about, and this is called, looks like it's a little crooked here. There's that better? Yeah. Oh, whatever. Anyway, this was such a fun quilt to make. I had an idea of making these little crows, and kind of a funny story between this quilt and the next quilt I'll be showing you. So I'm making these little crows and sunflowers. And I thought, oh, it would be so fun to put a little wing inside of these crows. But of course, they're tiny, so I didn't want to go to that extent. And in the next quilt I show you, you'll see what I have done with that. But this, inspired by August is my favorite month. And we have lots of sunflowers on the farm, even though I'm in Oregon. I'm not a Kansas girl. I'm an Oregon girl. Lots of sunflowers, lots of crows. And it's a lot of half square triangles make up these sunflower petals, but I use the Magic 8 method, which is,
Okay.
many of you probably have heard of it, but it's using 2 fabric squares, right sides together. And with those 2 fabric squares, you can create 8 half square triangles. So I use methods like that inside a lot of my quilts, and makes it go a lot easier, a lot quicker that way, instead of making 1 or 2 at a time, I suppose. So the pattern is called Ansoa Crows. It's 40 inches by 50 inches. And it's right here.
And it's so cute. I tell you, I love crows. And I know not everyone does, but I am drawn to them. I often talk to them, and they're always welcome in my backyard. So,
Well, yeah.
and so it crows pattern is normally an $11 retail pattern, but our very special So Fun Club price for you tonight is $8.79. And I know you're probably just like me, and So It Crows is going to end up in your basket.
And
And it's just such a cute quilt. So let's go back to Karen and see what's next.
Okay, so I mentioned about adding a little wing to those tiny little crows, and I actually stopped making Ansoa crows to create this quilt because I couldn't get this out of my head. I already knew where I was going with the other one, but I couldn't get this out of my head. So I sized the birds up and I added a red wing because we have a lot of red-winged blackbirds here in Oregon. And the funny thing about this quilt, I don't necessarily know how I'm going to arrange what I'm making until it gets farther along. And I had stacked all these crows or red-winged blackbirds. All of the wings are half square triangles, and I had an extra half square triangle, as you know, for each wing because they're all different. And so, no, actually this one's not different. Anyway, so I had an extra half square triangle for every wing. And when I started putting the quilt together, I noticed I had them all lining up, and I noticed this is kind of not very appropriate, but every nose was in the other's hind end.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, am I the only one that's going to think that, or is everybody going to see that? So I took those extra half square triangles and I created this little diversion away from each other.
Yes.
So at least they have a little bit of separation from beak to you know what. And this is a little bit different. Same
Very
quilt,
nice.
lighter background with polka dots, and all the wings are different in this one. So that's
It is
called
just so cute.
Yeah, this is my red wing blackbird quilt. It measures 40 by 38. And that's it here.
Okay. So let me talk about our very special pricing for you tonight on our virtual So Fun Club. So this pattern retails for $11. And once again, our very special negotiated price for all of our customers is only $8.79. So such a bargain for all you red wing blackbird lovers out there. And let's see what Karen has next. Isn't this fun?
Okay, this one is called Star-Spangled Picnic. And it is, I don't know where I came up with it, but I just thought flags and watermelon and stars. And what I do a lot of times with my piecing too, I will size something up. So if you're reading my instructions and you're not quite sure it makes sense, because if you're smart and you're going, well, that doesn't add up, it's because I have actually sized up a portion of maybe this flag bird, and then I have you trim it down at the end. So it's your accuracy is much better. And skinny little legs. It's definitely an intermediate quilt to make. But if you are interested in, strengthening your quilting skills, something like this, a lot of times I'll say, just make something out of scraps first and kind of get the hang of it. Because once you make it, you're just repeating it again. And this is such a great quilt for the 4th of July holidays.
Well, it
And
can be
this,
for anything. Yeah. It can be patriotic. It can be for a veteran. Yeah.
true. This is Star-Spangled Picnic, and it's 30, gosh, if I had glasses, 36 by 36, or, yep, 38 by 38. So this is it
Okay.
here.
Okay. So let me talk about our special pricing for Star-Spangled Picnic. So once again, it's $11 retail, and our very special So Fun Club price is only $8.79 here for you on our virtual So Fun Club. Now let's see. She is working so fast, Karen, to get those quilts switched up in the background. Let's see where we're going next.
Does that look good? Okay. This
Yes.
one very, very similar to Star-Spangled Picnic. This is called Micro Garden. Again, you'd think I'm into birds. Well, I guess I am. I don't know. On pumpkins, not a very difficult quilt to make. The blocks are big, but there are a lot of pieces to them. I use a lot of corner triangles when I am making quilts, and that is where you draw a diagonal line on or use a laser or something on your machine, and then you flip. You stitch it on the diagonal and you flip your square to create corner triangles, things like that. So I try to use methods that are time-saving methods, and this one's a really fun fall quilt all through Halloween. So
Yeah,
and
it can
this
go
one,
straight through for Thanksgiving as well. Yeah.
you could. This is 44 by 46 inches.
Okay. So
All
let's
right.
get our special pricing for Micro Garden. And I tell you, it is definitely a bird theme right now, and I'm not complaining. I love them. So the retail on that is $11, and our very special So Fun Club price, once again, is only $8.79. So let's see if Karen is ready with our next
Are we
quilt.
ready? Whew.
Yay!
Oh, look, another bird. I kind of got into this thing where, I started one and I started thinking, okay, now how can I put a bird on something else and something else? And so I have another idea for a fourth one that might be more Christmas. This is called Cherry Pickin'. So it's definitely late spring, early summer, whereas the patriotic Star-Spangled Picnic is summer, and then the fall one, obviously fall. But there's a lot of the fabrics that I use in the last 3 quilts that I've just shown, including this one. I use a lot of Andover fabrics with Renee Nanaman. I work closely with her. She's a fabric designer. And a lot of the quilts that I make, I use her fabric lines. She's always coming up with some great lines of fabric. So it's really fun to see what I can do with them, or not. Sometimes I don't. But this one is not quilted. It's still a flimsy. It's something that I've got to get done before it's hanging in the shop. So this one is Cherry Pickin', and it measures 38 by 38.
And I want to draw attention to, because obviously cherry picking, you guys, if you look real close, each one of the birds is holding a cherry in its beak. You can see it. Yes. So
Right
that's what those dots are. So stinking cute. Okay.
Well,
So let's get to our pricing. Oh, I'm sorry, Karen, go ahead.
Well, the one thing that is missing on my cherry pick, and that I just noticed, because I'll do this after it's quilted, I add a little silk ribbon stem from his beak. So I will
Okay.
hand add that so it looks like he's, it's the stem
Holding
of the
it, yeah.
cherry. He's holding the cherry. So
It's so cute. Okay, so let's get to our pricing. So cherry picking is, one second, let me get to it. It's an $11 retail valued pattern. And once again, you won't be paying that here tonight. It's only $8.79 for all of our Moores customers. So
want this.
great pricing, and let's see where we're going next.
Okay, this is a pretty new one that I think I got it done this summer in August. And it's very dear to my heart because I just had my first grandson in August, and my actually first grandchild. And funny story, not so funny. My mom, always still living, always accuses me of living in La La Land. And I do, because it's a happy place. I like happy things. I don't like to talk about things that I don't want to talk about. And so as Samuel, my little grandson, was coming soon, I created this, and I couldn't think of a better name than Lolli's Garden. And that is who I am, Lolli to him, because I live in La La Land. So I may someday hear how he actually says that. But this is sunflowers. I originally was thinking it could be cone flowers, so you could change the colors and make them cone flowers, and ladybugs, and not very difficult at all. This little piece here, I size it up so you can trim it down. And I always say with my instructions or my patterns to read one step at a time. Don't jump ahead. Try not to look at the pictures and go, oh, I can figure that out, because I do that. And then I go, I should have read the instructions. But there's a lot of times when, not in this particular quilt, but if I have something that's a little hard to explain, or the diagrams just don't do it as I think as well as it could be, I will do a tutorial on my website and show a step-by-step how to do something and how I've done it. So if somebody's struggling with understanding the instructions, they can go to my website and find, an easy place to actually see. Pictures are worth 1,000 words. So that's
lots of great tips and information there. And I love that if people do struggle, that they're able to go to your website and get some help and inspiration. That's wonderful that you provide that, Karen.
Yeah.
So, and I love the story on Lolli's Garden. So that's very sweet. So let's talk about our special pricing here. So once again, Lolli's Garden with those adorable sunflowers and ladybugs. Retail price is $11 if you were purchasing it elsewhere, but our very special So Fun Club virtual price for you is only $8.79. And we're so glad that we can offer that to all of our customers. So presto changeo, let's see where Karen's taking us next.
I'm taking you to the strawberry fields. That's where I'm taking you. Yay! This is called Strawberry Patches, and my father raised strawberries for years and years and years, and I was out in the strawberry fields picking strawberries when I was probably 8 years old, maybe younger. But this is a second remake of the original quilt. The original quilt has a lot more deep red strawberries in it. And I always wanted to, after I made this one, I wanted to sort of make one that shows, okay, not so ripe, getting riper, all the way down to the rotten one here. So, and
the one that goes in a smoothie.
That's, yeah, exactly. The one you don't really want to eat. But I have two different, I couldn't decide if I want a chunky strawberry or a pointy strawberry. So I created both of them, and then I just threw them both in the pattern. And I do have a tutorial or a pictorial on my website on how to create these little points on the strawberries. Yeah. And I do have it, once you grab that blue one, this is a little different colorway. It was oh,
wow. Yeah.
Totally different. I mean, this represents the sky behind the strawberries. This obviously is the strawberry patches, but a lot of times I'll mock up a quilt before I actually make what I'm in the colors I want to make it. But I just thought this was kind of a pretty And there's a couple mistakes in here, which is always good when you're mocking it up and then you know what you're not supposed to do. So anyway, like this one doesn't have an extra leaf and these all have 3. So something happened there. I don't know.
Yeah.
So it measures 59 by 81.
Very nice. Well, strawberries are my favorite fruit. So let's get down to the pricing for strawberry patches. And once again, this is an $11 retail pattern that we are selling at a special price of only $8.79 for you here, our More So Fun Club. And let's see. I keep thinking we're going to switch over and she's not going to be ready, but Karen's fast. Let me tell you.
I've got good help. Okay, this one is called Touch and Go. And the airplanes are going down and they're turning around and they're coming up just like Touch and Go. They, when you're learning how to fly, that's what you do, I guess. My husband is a pilot. And one night we were sitting at the kitchen table with my son and my now daughter-in-law. We're talking about pilot's license and they were all talking about getting a pilot's license or whatever. And I went to bed that night and I couldn't sleep. I thought I gotta make an airplane quilt. So I really couldn't sleep. I got under the covers in bed on my phone looking at airplanes. And I thought, if my husband wakes up, he's going to wonder what the heck I'm doing. So finally, about 3:30 in the morning, I got up, went downstairs, and drafted this airplane quilt called Touch and Go. And my husband named it. But again, I have a tiny little propeller here. And I size up some of these little pieces for this unit. And I also have a step-by-step pictorial on my website for this portion of it. After you get one of these done, it's just a repeat of all the planes, big pieces, and you're off and flying. So this is Touch and Go. And I have seen it made in patriotic fabrics, flannels, just everything. And it looks wonderful. For little boys' rooms, I have one that I was going to make. I haven't finished it. I don't know if you can see. It's called Amelia. So it's kind of a
very cool. Yeah,
very pretty flower plane. And it's a smaller version. And Amelia is also included in the pattern for Touch and Go. And Touch and Go is 45 by 66 and Amelia is 30. What is that? 30. What is that? Sorry, I can't see.
That's all right.
56.
36 by 56 is
very nice.
Yeah. So that is Touch and Go.
I love it because, you know, oftentimes if you're making something for your grandfather, your grandson, your husband, you know, airplanes are always very popular with men. And it's a great quilt idea for any of your, you know, opposite sex partners, you know, boyfriends, or whatever it is.
This one is very vintage. Yeah, it's very vintagey. And a lot of times people will say, this is great for their husband or something. So,
yeah.
Okay, we're moving on the next one.
Okay, well, let's go back to our very special pricing for Touch and Go. I know my husband was in the aerospace industry, and this would be a definite hit for him. So Touch and Go retail is $11, but our very special So Fun Club price is only $8.79 for you tonight. So let's see where Karen is taking us next.
Okay,
there we go.
Here I am. This one is called Farmhouse Love, and I bet you can tell why. It's got the hearts, the stars. It has this wonderful fabric of bees, black bees across the border, and it is a very simple quilt to make, not very difficult. These are 9 patches set on point in the. Can you see that?
Yes, absolutely.
In the border. And I do, again, have a tutorial online to show exactly how to put this border together because you are using the bias and setting triangles. And that's another reason why preparing your fabrics and shrinking down those fibers ahead of time is really a good idea to stabilize those bias edges. So this one is called Farmhouse Love. and it's just very, who doesn't love black and
It's
white?
traditional. Yeah, it's
Very
traditional. It's
traditional.
straightforward, and
Mhm.
it's just striking. I love the hearts in the center of the stars, for little pop of color, and yeah,
And,
it's just really, really nice. I love it.
yeah, and the black check is great. Great.
Yeah, yeah. So what size is this one?
This one is 57 by 73.
Okay. So
Yeah.
let me get to our so fun pricing that we have for Farmhouse Love. And this is a $12 retail pattern that we have a very special So Fun Club price of $9.59 for you tonight. So let's get back to Karen and let's see where she's taking us next.
Woo, you almost caught me not ready.
Uh-oh.
This is called Gerber daisies. And Gerber daisies is a combination of strip piecing and half square triangles, um, and corner triangles. It uses the key to this particular quilt, or success of it, I guess, is these daisies. The two colors in the petals are very similar in color and in tone, but they don't contrast a lot, so they almost look like they blend. But they definitely have two different fabrics used. And I originally thought that I was going to use this grade B fabric in the setting squares. And I cut them out. I placed them around before I sewed it together, and it was too dark. It was too heavy, very, very heavy. And so I really struggled with what to put in those setting squares, because in my mind I had it all figured out. But then I completely changed direction and went with a lighter background setting square, and I think it works really great. I also used a little bit of a flange up here, which I am going to put a tutorial on my website on how to add a flange, because it's super simple. And sometimes it can separate, like I wanted to separate the checks from the binding and the border and add a little flange to separate those two. So it's all set on point, and it's not that scary if you've never made one on point. It's actually really fun to do, and pretty easy. So this
Very
is called
good. Well,
Gerber daisies.
Gerber daisies, and I love the it almost gives the petals of the flowers a little bit of shadow play. I
Right.
love the use of color, and it gives it a 3D dimensional type of
Mhm,
look.
mhm,
Very
mhm.
good. So let's talk about Gerber daisies and our special prices for you tonight. It retails for $12, but our very special So Fun Club price is only $9.59 for you tonight. And Gerber daisies is one of those quilts. And as Karen has said, I always, if I can make a block bigger and then square it up, I find that that gives your blocks more precision, and you're not fighting with your fabric when you're piecing things together. So it definitely is the route to go. And I always appreciate when designers put those into the patterns, because it gives you that leeway, and the amount of fabrics you need to make your quilt perfect. So thank you, Karen. Now let's get on and see where she's taking us next.
Okay, next up is Indian Summer, and I actually have two versions to show. One's a little bit more modern looking, white background. It's got a little tiny polka dot in the background. But the fun thing about this quilt is I use the method of corner triangles. And some people think that's wasteful, because you're actually taking a square, you're drawing a diagonal on the wrong side, and then you're stitching right on that diagonal, or just a tad off that diagonal, and then flipping it. And then you have to cut away all that extra in the back. But having cut away that extra, I just turned it into little half square triangles, and I use them in the quilt as little tiny pineapples.
Pinwheels, yeah.
So I try to create a pattern that I use a lot of a lot of the fabric. I don't like to waste a lot of fabric if I don't have to, if I can come up with something to use that extra that I cut away behind something. So it's made with kind of a log cabin center, and it's an easy, quick quilt to do. And here's the second version. This is much more primitive, much something that would
Oh,
hang
wow.
in my house. I did change this just a tiny bit. You can notice on this one, I clipped the corners, make them more circular. And on this one being primitive, I didn't do that. My dog.
I can hear them.
Anyway, so this is just a more primitive version of the same quilt.
I love it. Yeah. Both of them. And it's the great thing about having a pattern, you know, tweaking something a little bit, and you can make a quilt from the same pattern and make them look completely different. So I always appreciate that, Karen.
Yeah,
okay, so let's go to our pricing on that quilt. And this is Indian Summer. Our very special pricing. Retail is normally $11, but here at So Fun Club with Moores, it will only be $8.79 for you. And onward back to Karen. I can't wait to see where we're going to which quilt next.
Okay, this quilt is called Crescent Cat. And you can see the cat here. He's sitting on a little crescent moon. I designed this. I actually should be showing the other quilt first, but it didn't go in that order. But I designed this after the other quilt I'm going to show you next as a replacement block if one doesn't want to add crows to the next quilt. But this is Crescent Cat, and I just made a long runner. It makes a great pillow. I've even seen this made into a chair seat, which was very fun. For a chair pad. So this is easy pattern. It does have tiny little half square triangles in here, but don't be afraid. I use the Magic 8 and size it up so you can trim it down for accuracy.
Very nice. Keep your points.
Okay,
yep. So let's go over Crescent Cat's special pricing that we have. And normally this pattern is $11, but our very special So Fun Club price, once again, is only $8.79 for you here tonight. And I'm assuming we're going to see a crescent with a crow next. I'll talk a little bit. I know, like I said, I was very drawn to Karen's work beforehand, and I know you guys are going to be pretty excited to see what's coming next. So let's get on over to Karen and see.
Okay, this one was kind of a headache to hang because we had the cat upside down, but we got it straightened up. So you can see this is called the Crow's Meow. And the Crow's Meow has a big moon with a cat sitting inside it. It's kind of so there's the cat inside the moon.
Absolutely, yep.
And then I have it surrounded by these great star blocks. And the nice thing about this quilt, let me see if I can reach it up a little bit. Can you see that? Yeah, it's completely surrounded by these star blocks with a little bit of purple. And if you don't want to do the border, which I'm going to show you next, you can simply just stop the quilt at this point, it's a pretty large quilt. But this is a great place to stop it. Or you can go ahead and make these crows. And they're sideways, upside down. Let's see if we can get this so you can see it.
Yeah, I love that. I love the border and the fluidity of the ribbon around the crows. It's very, very cute.
So the crows, they're just circling around this silly cat, just taunting him. And I decided to make that Crescent Cat block as a replacement block if somebody doesn't want the crows. And that they fit, they're the same size, so that can be done. But yeah, it's a pretty fun quilt. Lots of things going on. A lot of techniques used for time-saving techniques, and yeah.
Well, and this is a big quilt. What size does this one measure?
It is 72 by 72, so it's a square quilt. So it's pretty big.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. Well, let's get to our pricing on the Crow's Meow. So once again, our retail on that is $12, but you won't spend that here with us Moores tonight. Our very special price is only $9.29. And I know that we've got a lot more to see here, so let's see where Karen is taking us next.
This is called Noble Spools, and again, inspired by my dad's stand of noble firs that were planted years and years ago. And I thought, wouldn't it be cool to put them in a spool with a star. And it's just a midnight kind of a look and easy to do. It's very easy corner triangle flip kind of method on the trees. The stars, some people have eliminated those outside of the spool, but I kind of like them. They kind of dance around, give it a little bit of color in there. And then I have another version of this because I like to show something that, is a little bit different than.
Oh, wow.
And this reminds me of something that could be hanging in a candy shop or something like that. But very fun polka dot background, all kinds of scrappy fabrics that I pulled out of my stash, and creates a completely different look. Completely.
It absolutely does. I love it.
Oh,
and noble trees are my favorite at Christmas time. So
yes,
that's always a plus.
Yes.
Okay.
The one thing I wanted to mention on the back of this particular, here, you can hold that. Yeah, thank you. I use prairie points for a sleeve, and I just take an 8.5-inch
idea.
and fold it in diagonal twice, and then you'll have a raw edge that you just stitch right into the binding, and then you can slip a rod right behind them, and you just take a little tacking stitch down here. Super easy.
Yeah, I love that. I haven't seen that before, Karen. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, it's very fun.
Definitely.
Yep. Okay. So that's
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's talk about our special pricing for Noble Spools. That is $11 pattern retail, but your very special So Fun Club price here tonight virtually is only $8.49. And let's see if we can get Karen on the move here and see what she has for us next.
Are you ready for me?
There we go.
Oh, there we are. This is Presents Under the Tree. I just finished this last fall, and it is a simple quilt to make, just big presents and trees and sashing between it, cornerstones, easy to do, very fun in the dark colors. I like the dark. I also saw it made recently in a grunge gray background, and it gave it a real wintry, soft winter look. So it was very, very pretty. But yeah, it's a great Christmas quilt to hang all season. So
absolutely.
This is Presents Under the Tree, and it measures 67 by 81, and it's right here.
Okay. So it's a big one too. Okay, so let's go to our very special pricing for Presents Under the Tree. And this normally is an $11 retail pattern. And our very special So Fun Club price for you tonight is only $8.79. Now I'm getting sad because I think we only have a couple more quilts. So let's see where Karen's taking us next.
I'm taking you back to my parents' farm where they still live today. My dad's 91 and my mom's 86, still living on the farm. And my kids growing up there, playing outside. We lived about a mile from where my parents' farm is. And they deemed this little spot behind a big, huge acre-sized pond, the Scary Woods. And so this, and there's owls in the Scary Woods. So you go through the Scary Woods and occasionally you'll see a big owl fly through. So this is what inspired me. I like the checkerboard trees. They kind of remind me of the flickering of the light in the Scary Woods. And the little owls remind me of little tiny baby owls. And they're sitting on a branch here with their talons, and just super, super cute. I just got this one done last month. So this is one of my brand new ones. And it measures 58 by 72. And
I love that you're sharing some of your new patterns with us. That is so super special. And Scary Woods isn't so scary to me. It's absolutely gorgeous. I love the repetitiveness of the designs and the owls and the trees. It's just really special. So let's get to, on that note, our very special So Fun Club pricing. And retail on this pattern, Scary Woods, is $12, but you won't pay that here tonight. Our very special So Fun Club price is only $9.59 for our customers here at Moore's. So let's get on to, I could probably roll a dice and guess which pattern is next, but I'm going to let Karen lead the way here.
This is called Color My World, and it is just a collection of colored pencils. I have a little tutorial on my website on how to create these little pencil tips if they seem difficult. But it's just a couple rectangles sewn together and then a flip, stitch and flip method. And you get these nice little tips on the pencils. Easy to make with scraps, very easy to make with scraps. I think everything requires maybe 1/8 of a yard, and that's enough to probably make a couple of these. And then the background, I believe, is 1.5 yards to make this, and that includes the background. And I just did a simple straight line stitch back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, about 1/4 of an inch away, and used a polka dot black binding for it to show it off. But this is called Color My World, and it is 18 by 32 inches. So very cute for a teacher gift or back to school.
Absolutely. Yeah. Even for, a child's room, make it bigger, add some more rows, and, do all of the crayons in the color box. Yep.
Yeah. A great pillowcase, be a great pillowcase. Just, imagination.
Absolutely. Okay. So let's go over our very special So Fun Club price for Color My World. That is $11 retail, and our very special So Fun Club price for that pattern is only $8.79 for you here tonight. And I'm very sad to say, but we're on our last pattern with Karen. Let's see what it is.
Yep. Okay, this one is called Sharing the Harvest, and I created this last year. It's just not a variety, it's just the same pumpkin repeated over and over. I have a couple different deep burnt orange and a little bit brighter orange. And of course the stars have the gold inside them. The little stem curls around, and I have a little tutorial on my website showing how to actually make that stem. If you're struggling with it, it has pictures. But it's actually the original quilt is bigger than this. This is a smaller version of it. So I think my original in the pattern has an extra row on the side and on the bottom. But it is called Sharing the Harvest, and it is 62 by 80 inches. And then of course I used all the scraps and created this little checkerboard border for it, because you always have scraps left.
Yeah, and I love it because it really leads your eyes to the center to all those pumpkins and stars. Very striking. Okay, so let's go over our very special pricing for you tonight. And Sharing the Harvest is normally $11 retail, but our very special So Fun Club price is only $8.79 for you tonight. And now I want to take a moment and thank Karen once again for sharing her love of quilting and all of her patterns here with us tonight. We're very pleased that you have joined us, and I cannot wait to see what you come up with in the near future. So from all of us here at Moore's, I want to thank you for joining us here tonight.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I've enjoyed it myself. Thanks.
You are so welcome, and happy stitching, and we shall see you soon. Thank you, Karen.
All of you too. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
So let me share with you my special show and tell here tonight. And I have this pillow here, and you can see that it has an angel. And this is what I made last year for Christmas presents. And I made about, 20 of them. And each of the angels have organza wings, and it's my own pattern. And they each had a special thing in their pocket. So all of them were completely different. And for each of the people that I made them for, it matched their hair color and their hairstyle. So I really customize them for all of the people that I was giving them to. And it was a lot of fun. It has a simple pocket back so they can take it out and they can clean the cover as needed. But I love them, creativity, and it was just one of those things that I always enjoy every year, taking time out and making something special that I can share and give away in the holidays. And once again, hopefully you can do that. But this is my thing that I have to share tonight for show and tell for December. I look forward to seeing what you're going to share and share with all of us in a virtual So Fun Club. So I want to thank you once again for joining us for our virtual So Fun Club. And Karen, once again, thank you for taking time out and sharing your love of quilting and all your knowledge behind your patterns that you've made and you're sharing with us here tonight. Be sure to check back with us every month for our virtual So Fun Club and see what we have and all the specials we have. So we look forward to seeing you each and every month here at our virtual So Fun Club. Thank you for joining us, and I'll see you next month.